Hi, everyone. Welcome to week 11 of social media marketing. We are rolling right along. You are really making progress in the course. I hope you're enjoying it. And I know there's always that little bit of looking forward to it being over because you have some more credits, some more college credits that can never be taken away from you. So I'm proud of you for what you're doing. This week, we're going to focus on two platforms that are very different from each other. Both are extremely valuable in the right marketing strategy. We're going to look at X, formerly known as Twitter. I always feel like I'm talking about Prince when I say that, the artist formerly known as Prince. We're going to be looking at the social media platform formerly known as Twitter and Pinterest. Now, these platforms attract very different audiences, and they encourage very different behaviors, and they require very different content strategies. Okay, so while last week we kind of saw how they were different but the same and could work together, dealing with Instagram and Twitter, today we're like, okay, these are not at all the same, but how can you use them recognizing how different that they are? One platform is built around real-time conversation and fast-moving engagement, and the other is built around inspiration, planning, and long-term discovery. Understanding those differences is critical if you want to market effectively. So we're going to start with X. Now, I'm going to take a little side road here because we all know most people still call it Twitter, and that says a lot about branding and consumer behavior. It's something you need to think about as you're branding your own business. From a marketing perspective, it gives us an important lesson because this platform underwent one of the most controversial rebrands in modern business history when it went from Twitter to X, because brand recognition and brand equity matter, and Twitter had become part of everyday language. People said, tweet it. They said, I saw it on Twitter. The name itself carried emotional familiarity and instant recognition. It was very popular. And when the platform changed to X, some users kind of felt disconnected from the original identity. And you can see it's almost like it didn't take, because even today, many people, especially if they were on it when it was Twitter, maybe not the very younger generation, but the people that were on it when it was Twitter, they still will call it Twitter or X, formerly Twitter. I always make sure in this course that I make sure people know we're talking about Twitter, because not everyone recognizes X even yet today. So that is a powerful reminder that businesses should think carefully before making major brand changes. If it's not broke, don't fix it. That is a good overall marketing strategy for any business, any type of marketing. I'm old enough to remember New Coke. Some of you probably do not. Coca-Cola, as you know it today, was out. It was great. Everybody loved it. They made New Coke. We didn't need New Coke. New Coke cost a lot of money and was a great flop. So just be sure if you go to change something major in your business, in your branding, that it is necessary and that you don't become the business formerly known as, because that's not necessarily good for marketing or branding. Although I think for Twitter X, it has worked out fine because they still seem to be going very strong regardless of the debate. It remains a very important platform for all kinds of marketing and personal use. X is built around real-time communication, fast information sharing, conversation, commentary, and discovery. Users on X tend to be very engaged with news, trends, industry discussions, technology, politics, sports, entertainment, and niche communities. It's another platform that moves really quickly. Content has a much shorter lifespan on X compared to platforms like Pinterest or YouTube. This means brands have to focus on relevance and timing. If you're going to use X, you need to be sure you understand what is the best timing to be on there. So now let's talk a little bit about what kind of content works best on X. While X originally became famous for short text posts, video content now also performs extremely well. Short, vertical videos tend to generate strong engagement because they capture attention quickly. Another important strategy on X is using threads. Threads allow businesses and creators to connect multiple posts together to tell a larger story or explain a topic in depth. It kind of keeps people hooked in and keep going. They want to see what comes next. This works especially well for thought leadership, educational content, industry analysis, and storytelling. X also involves a live audio feature called Spaces. Spaces allow brands and creators to host live conversations with audiences. Businesses use Spaces for Q&A sessions, for product discussions, for industry conversations, and community building. Now, here's something important about marketing on X. Traditional corporate style marketing is going to usually perform pretty poorly on X. You don't want to do your traditional advertising on X. Users on X very much prefer authenticity, personality, and conversation over a highly polished advertisement like something you would put on TV. This is why many successful brands on X adopt a really more human conversational tone. But remember that fast engagement also matters. That's another one, a little bit like TikTok. If you're going to be on X, you got to keep that pace up. You got to know that that is how that platform functions. Users expect quick replies and active participation. If they respond to you one time on X and don't hear back from you for a week, they're probably not going to engage with you again. Brands that respond quickly and sometimes even humorously often build stronger audience relationships. An important strategy on X is the 80-20 rule. That means that 80% of your content should provide value and only 20% should promote products or services. It might feel counterintuitive. You're like, I got to put my product out there. But you need to put yourself out there, your brand out there as a part of a community that is bringing value. And then 20% of what you do needs to be about your products and services. People follow accounts on X for conversation, insight, entertainment, and community. They are not looking for nonstop advertising on X. Okay, now let's shift over to Pinterest. And as we've already talked about, Pinterest is going to function very differently than X. It operates completely differently. Pinterest is less about what's happening right now and more about what users want to do in the future. Most people go to Pinterest because they're making some sort of plan. People use Pinterest to plan, to organize, to discover ideas and solve problems. They have an event coming up. They have something they're decorating. They have a remodel they want to do. There's a wedding. There's a birthday party. They go to Pinterest to get ideas. In many ways, Pinterest functions more like a search engine than a traditional social media platform. Users search for all kinds of things. They search for recipes, home decor. They search for fashion inspiration, business ideas, do-it-yourself products, organization tips, travel ideas, all kinds of things like that, shopping inspiration. And unlike the more fast-moving platforms where posts disappear quickly, Pinterest content can remain discoverable for months or even years. That's actually one of Pinterest's biggest advantages. A well-optimized pin can continue driving traffic a long time after it has been posted. And let's talk about what works best on Pinterest. The most important concept on Pinterest is visual SEO. On Pinterest, businesses are competing for search visibility, not just likes. That means that on Pinterest, I say it on every platform, but for sure on Pinterest, keywords are extremely important. Instead of relying heavily on hashtags, businesses should focus on descriptive titles and searchable phrases. For example, small apartment organization ideas. That's a much better title than cute setup. It might feel like you're showing more of your personality if you say, look at this cute setup. But those words are probably not going to trigger in the SEO. So use things like small apartment organization ideas. Pinterest also prioritizes visually clear, vertical content. You need to make sure that on Pinterest, your strong pins are going to include things like high quality images. This is maybe a little more polished than some of the more raw, real, authentic conversational platforms we've been talking about. You want it to look really good. Helpful text overlays. Overlaying text that helps define and explain the visuals is important. Clean design is very important. Easy to understand information. Video pins and interactive collage content also perform very well because they encourage exploration and shopping behavior. Now, there's an important strategic difference between Pinterest and many other platforms. On Pinterest, businesses should act more like resources than promoters. You kind of have to shift the way you're thinking. That means your content should focus on inspiration. Like if you sell a product that's part of home decor, you may have to feature things in the picture that you don't actually sell, but then they'll see your wall hanging in the midst of this others, and it gives them an idea of how that would work in their home decor. Your content should focus on education, problem solving, and helpful ideas rather than constant direct selling. Another unique aspect of Pinterest that you need to be sure you use to your advantage if you use it in marketing is seasonal planning. Pinterest users often begin searching for ideas months before events actually happen. If you're planning a wedding on Pinterest, you're looking for a year, at least most people ahead of time. So businesses need to market earlier than they would on other platforms. And I know weddings and things may carry on through, but for example, holiday content should be posted long before the holidays arrive. If you wait till the first part of December or even November to start posting Christmas crafts, Christmas products, you're going to be way behind. Think about what the stores do. You go in there in August and you start to see Christmas piling up on top of Halloween because they're getting ahead of that holiday season. Pinterest is definitely a platform where you need to also do that. Okay, let's discuss one final reason Pinterest has become especially attractive for brands, and that is because the platform has intentionally created a more positive environment. Some social media, we all know this, can get very negative. There's lots of political smackdowns and rude behavior often on social media, which is a tragedy for our culture and our world, but that just is what it is. Pinterest is heavily focused on inspiration and creativity rather than conflict and controversy. There's really not a place on Pinterest to fistfight over the president or anything else that people get into it in these days. As a result, a lot of people who are really uncomfortable with that type of thing associate this platform with a calmer and more enjoyable experience. If I want to go look for things for my birthday party, I can just look for birthday party things, and I'm not going to get slammed in the side of the face by someone arguing over here. It's calmer for the most part. And from a marketing perspective, positive emotional environments encourage stronger purchasing behavior. So let's compare the two platforms strategically. X is best for real-time engagement, commentary, fast interaction, industry discussions, and creator-style communication. Pinterest is best for long-term discoverability, search-based traffic, inspiration, shopping intent, and evergreen content. It stays good for a very, very, very long time. One platform moves incredibly quickly. The other continues working for you over time. Okay, as always, or almost always, there's a quiz this week. There is also one assignment related to X or Twitter and one related to Pinterest. I know sometimes, it feels a little overwhelming when you have two at once, but it's very doable if you just get in there and get it done. If you have any questions, any problems, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I hope everything goes well for you this week, and I will see you in week 12.